Mirror, mirror on the wall, is Obamonomics making America fall? Fresh off a 2-week Hawaiian extravaganza, President O playing the blame game on income inequality. But aren't his policies the reason so many people are struggling? And then, skiing, curling, and health care. The White House planning an Olympic-sized Obamacare push during the Winter Games next month. But time out, a majority of Americans want Obamacare repealed. So, should Uncle Sam get a gold medal for wasting your tax money? Plus,
I come out here today to apologize to the people of New Jersey.
A bridge to controversy, the mainstream media wasting no time ripping New Jersey's Republican governor, Chris Christie, for traffic troubles created by his staff. Why this has media bias written all over it. Cashing in, your bridge to freedom starts right now. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Boeing. Welcome to Cashin' In. Our Cashin' In crew this week: Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Michelle Fields, and Mr. Bob Beckel. Welcome, everybody. The Commander-in-Chief is back, fresh off a 2-week Hawaiian vacation, coming back after chilling on the taxpayer's dime. And the first thing he does, he wages war on income inequality.
And we've got to do more to make sure that all Americans share in that growth.
Michelle, nice 2 weeks away vacation, and then now income inequality. That's the big push?
Look, income inequality is not a disease, it's a symptom. And if Obama wants to know what the disease is, all he has to do is look to his policies, because it's his economic policies that are creating more economic inequality. And I think it's ironic that he's suddenly talking about inequality after he returned from a $4 million 17-day vacation in Hawaii. If we're on the subject of inequality, can we talk about why it's fair that he goes to Hawaii and I can't? That, to me, is vacation inequality.
Yeah, Bob, you and I didn't go to Hawaii, but the president and the first family was in Hawaii enjoying a nice taxpayer-funded vacation. Comes back and talk about the haves versus the have-nots.
Listen, is there any president that hasn't gone on a taxpayer vacation?
But boy,
I mean,
I'm pretty sure I haven't heard a president come back from vacation. The first topic is the income inequality gap after he spent 2 weeks in a hot tub.
He's right about that. I mean, I don't know how you could possibly deny. You know, it's interesting that when income inequality was this disparate as it is now, in the late 1800s, it led to a recession. In the 1920s, led to the Depression. In the late 90s and early 2000s, led to a recession. Then, of course, the Great Recession. All of it was when income inequality was at its peak.
I don't know, John. Isn't it better when, even though there's income inequality, when the rising tide is floating all boats, including the lower end? I mean, what is it with the left who says, hey, there's such hatred of success that they say, let's tamper that down, but that doesn't help the bottom, does it?
No, Eric, I mean, income inequality isn't a problem. It's actually a virtue. Think about what Obama is actually advocating for here, not equality of rights, but equality of outcomes. And this is this evil egalitarianism. You know, we're all the same, we're all the same. Well, we're not all the same. And the only way Obama can make us all the same is by cutting down, Eric, to your point, the tall poppies, the achievers among us. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Michael Dell's wealth is theirs. And you don't help anyone by redistributing it to those who haven't produced by taking it from those who have.
All right, Wayne, over the years, in 1964, when this war on poverty started, over the years, in the 50 years since that war has begun, or we began a war with poverty, the poverty level hasn't budged. It started around 15 or 16%. Here we are, we have a graphic, $15 trillion later, and guess what? It's still 15%.
Well, it's not only that, Eric. You think the president has been there for 5 years, and the unemployment rate is still 6.7%. In other words, none of these policies have worked. All of this Keynesian theory about, oh, if we put money back into the economy on behalf of the federal government, that it's going to help everybody, is just trash. Nobody has read Milton Friedman. Nobody has read Hayek. Nobody has read von Mises. These are people who are ignorant, for the most part, about economic theory. So as a consequence, they buy into this, and like the president has done, and the results are disastrous. Of course, it's going to be inequality. You can't have a degree in rocket science and think that you're going to have the same equality level as a guy who's never gone to school.
That's not what he's asking for here. He's talking about the difference between the person who works on the factory floor and the CEOs used to be about 60 to 1. It's now about 800 to 1. Now, if you think that's a good equality, inequality, then I don't know where. And the other thing is, most of the money that's going to the haves in this country. Wait a second, Jonathan. Just I know you can't help yourself. I know you got a problem without being silent. But just give me 1 second, and I'll shut up. Okay? And the fact of the matter is, all this wealth is being concentrated in the hands of very wealthy people. It's not circulating in the economy. It's in bonds and stocks.
Go ahead, John.
No, the problem is not income inequality.
Let me just Bob had a second, so let me respond. Bonds and stocks, Bob, for one thing, are part of the economy. When the rich earn money, they actually invested in the economy to create jobs.
Where?
But to your original point, let me just make the point. If the CEO is making $700 million, Bob, someone's paying their salary. In a free economy, shareholders, if someone is actually paying that salary. If the government's not paying it, it's not being paid by force. It's actually being paying, but it's being earned in a free market, and that's what you and the president are against. You're against individuals achieving their own happiness.
Well, hold on. They are, Bob. I mean, as money is earned, even if it's earned by the wealthy, it's reinvested in the form of new products.
Bonds,
it's production. That's how the free market works.
All those great things that really don't circulate the economy at all.
That's how the free market works. As you earn more money, you expand your businesses, you try new things, you hire more people. Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, look, I think what we ought to be doing is reducing the regulatory burden on entrepreneurs, because then they will open new businesses, they will expand existing ones, and create jobs. Right now, we need to expand more opportunities. It's not a problem with inequality. It's a problem there's not economic growth and there are not enough jobs right now.
Should we change the regulations of the big banks that got us into near depression?
Let's do this, guys. Here's something happened this week that's very, very interesting. President Obama announced a proposal. He wants to create 5 promise zones. He calls them promise zones across the country. We have a map of them. Here's the issue. He says he's going to lower taxes, he's going to reduce regulatory burdens, and that's going to stimulate growth. Jonathan, let me start with you here. Bring it around. Wayne, you're on deck. But if that works in 5 promise zones, why wouldn't that work for the whole country?
America is supposed to be the promise zone, Eric. Obama should be focusing on equality of liberty, not equality of income. What egalitarianism seeks is not making us all equal in terms of wealth. It's making us all equal in terms of misery, and that's exactly what Obama's policies are creating.
Wayne, what about it? How about making America a promise zone?
Well, no, de Tocqueville, writing in 1831, you've heard me say this before, wrote that Americans are more enamored of equality than they are of freedom, and that's the problem. Equality is not, everybody doesn't have to be equal. Why do we have this persistence that everybody has to be equal? It's crazy. It destroys any incentive that anybody has to do anything else.
Well, let me ask Bob. Let me ask Bob. Bob, if it's going to work in 5 zones, lowering taxes, lower regulation, and that's supposed to stimulate economic activity, I got news for I'll be his economic advisor for a day and say, you know what, President Obama, let's do it across for everybody.
First, let me just say that Jonathan wallowing in misery really breaks my heart. I've got a crying towel right off the set here because Jonathan's in such terrible shape. But the point is here that if you get when you talk about what the president's talking about as promise zones, the only way you're going to attract businesses in is to do that kind of thing, right? All right.
So let's do it for everyone.
Businesses fled there because they went away from places that had a few union people.
But you just said the most important thing. The only way you're going to attract business to these promise zones is by doing these things, lowering the taxes. Why not do it? Why not making the federal income, the corporate business rate, lower? It's 35%. Make it 15%.
Why?
You'd cut your own argument.
My argument, you're talking about places that have unemployment rates up to 20%. That's a little different. You want to do it here in New York?
I want to do it everywhere.
Oh, you want to do it everywhere?
I want to do it across the country.
How about this? Goldman Sachs ought to have no regulations on it, right?
Of all their money.
Go ahead, Michelle.
All Bob wants to do is just soak the rich of all their money. What we should be doing is reducing taxes for everyone, reducing the regulatory burden. We need jobs. It's not about stealing from the rich and redistributing it.
Yeah, and think about it, Eric, in basketball terms. If you want to make everyone equal in a basketball league, you would do it by cutting off Michael Jordan's leg. You cut off LeBron James' legs. You take all the achievers and bring them down to everyone's level. Yeah, that's exactly what Obama is proposing for the whole economy. Right. It's a war on not only the wealthy, but the most productive among us.
And guess what? That basketball game becomes a lot less interesting to watch. Wayne, last word before we go.
Well, I was going to say something, but to Bob's credit, he talked earlier about the banks. The banking system, as we know, has concentrated wealth in and practically 5 banks control most of the banking assets in the United States. But that's not the problem that was created. That was created by the Congress and created by the president himself. They abandoned the Glass-Steagall Act and they allowed this to happen. That's why these things happen, because people allow them to happen instead of fighting against that and fighting for individual rights and for rights that are for the people themselves.
I don't want to watch this anymore. We're going to have to leave it there. Good discussion, though, you guys.